Alright, it is deep dive time, and we are finally moving into subclasses. My favorite part of doing these deep dive series is these subclasses, so I'm looking forward to this a lot. Today we are doing the College of Creation. Now, before getting started, I do like to talk a little bit about how I'm going to approach this. First and foremost is that bards are good enough that you can choose any subclass, and it's going to be powerful enough. You can have a good enough character. You're not going to be holding your team back or anything like that. Definitely choose your bard subclass based on what is most flavorful and fun to you. Do not worry about power levels. Bards alone are powerful. You could genuinely be a good character without even having a subclass. That's how good bards are. Now, also, I like to focus in on what makes a subclass unique. So if the main class does something that's more powerful than what the subclass does, I'm still probably going to do what the subclass does just because it's interesting to me. Even though we are talking a lot about optimization, just know that I do have that particular quirk and that I like flavor more than I care about having the strongest character ever. With all that being said, today we are doing the College of Creation. At third level, we get two features. Our first feature is called Note of Potential. When you join the College of Creation at third level, whenever you give a creature a bardic inspiration die, you can utter a note from the Song of Creation to create a tiny mote of potential, which orbits within 5 feet of the creature. The mote is intangible and invulnerable, and it lasts until the bardic inspiration die is lost. The mote looks like a musical note, a star, a flower, or another symbol of art or life that you choose. When the creature uses the bardic inspiration die, the mote provides an additional effect based on whether the die benefits an ability check or an attack roll or in a saving throw, as detailed below. If you use it for an ability check, when the creature rolls the bardic inspiration die to add it to an ability check, the creature can roll the bardic inspiration die again and choose which roll to use as the mote pops and emits colorful, harmless sparks for a moment. Attack roll. Immediately after the creature rolls the bardic inspiration die to add it to the attack roll against a creature, the mote thunderously shatters. The target in each creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of it must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or take thunder damage equal to the number rolled on the bardic inspiration die. And saving throw. Immediately after the creature rolls the bardic inspiration die and adds it to a saving throw, the mote vanishes with the sound of soft music, causing the creature to gain temporary hit points equal to the number rolled on the bardic inspiration die plus your charisma modifier, a minimum of 1 temporary hit point. So this basically allows us to not expand what we do with our bardic inspiration, but do what we already did a little bit better. The ability check is essentially advantage for your bardic inspiration, which is pretty good. It just means that on average you're getting better ability checks. That's actually really good, especially when they need to be super clutch. If you have to roll that 6, you're far more likely to do so when you roll 2 dice. As for the attack roll, it's essentially combining extra damage with more likely to hit. Now, I wouldn't ever go out of my way for this extra d6 of damage, but if you're already throwing it on your rogue who needs to land their sneak attack, they might as well add a little bit of thunder damage if you can. So it's more of the cherry on top than changing your decision making. I think that probably goes for all of these, that we're not really putting our bardic inspiration anywhere that we weren't already going to. We still want to do like our really well thought out bardic inspirations, and then these just give you a little bit of a cherry on top, like I said. As for the saving throw section, this gives us temporary HP, which, you know, can matter for the actual save. So if they're saving against a fireball, it's going to help them save and then also absorb some of that damage. But for a lot of times, it's going to be kind of like side, you know, we're targeting hold person, and so now they're going to still maybe fail it, and now they're held and they have a little bit of temporary HP that may or may not come into use. Also at third level, we pick up Performance of Creation. As an action, you can channel the magic of the Song of Creation to create one non-magical item of your choice in an unoccupied space within 10 feet of you. The item must appear on a surface or in a liquid that can support it. The GP value of the item can't be more than 20 times your bard level, and the item must be medium or smaller. The item glimmers softly and a creature can faintly hear music when touching it. The created item disappears after a number of hours equal to your proficiency bonus. For examples of items you can create, see the equipment chapter of the player's handbook. Once you create an item with this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of 2nd level or higher to use this feature again. You can only have one item created by this feature at a time. If you use this action and already have an item from this feature, the first one immediately vanishes. The size of the item you can create with this feature increases by 1 size category when you reach 6th level, large, and 14th level, huge. Okay, so this is pretty flavorful, and its use case is pretty situational depending on your DM. One of the use cases for Performance of Creation is kind of funny and kind of fun. You take the 1st level spell Distort value. At 3rd level, we can create a 60 gold piece item, and then we distort value to double its perceived value, so it looks like it's 120 gold pieces. And we just talk about how it's enchanted to play music, so when they're holding it, you know, and we go sell it, maybe change our face. It's just total side thing that I'm going off on, but just kind of some fun flavor that you can be a charlatan who's selling these fake items, and that could be your living. Maybe that's an NPC's living. I don't know, just something there. Now, more often than not, you're going to be making a rope with this. We need a hammer, so I make a hammer. We need a battering ram, I make a battering ram. So what's nice about this compared to, say, the Forge Cleric's Channel Divinity is we do this in an action. So it can literally be like, I just fell down a pit in combat, I need a way to get out. Action, I make a ladder, you know, and then you start climbing out. This is more restricted in that our gold pieces at early levels is going to be less, and then our size category is also more restricted. However, the size category starting out at medium, yeah, we're not going to be able to make a big ladder, for example, but by the time it hits large, most things we should be able to build at that point. I do think this is more flavorful than it is impactful, but not having to carry around items is going to unrestrain your party to do crazy things. But honestly, you know, you get a bag of holding and you can carry most of what this is going to create. But you never know. It has the versatility to create something that you didn't think you would need, and you did. I like it. I think it's cool flavor more than anything. At level 6, we get animating performance. By 6th level, as an action, you can target a large or smaller non-magical item you can see within 30 feet of you and animate it. The animated item uses the dancing item stat block, which uses your proficiency bonus. The item is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. It lives for 1 hour until it is reduced to 0 HP or until you die. In combat, the item shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes on its turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take another action. That action can be one in its stat block or some other action. If you are incapacitated, the item can take any actions of its choice, not just dodge. When you use your Bardic Inspiration feature, you can command the item as part of the same bonus action you use for the Bardic Inspiration. Once you animate an item with this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of 3rd level or higher to use this feature again. You can have only one item animated by this feature at a time. If you use this action and already have a dancing item from this feature, the first one immediately becomes inanimate. So talking about this feature is really where I feel this bard comes alive and is its own thing and has its own unique as a bit of a summoner. So now we have this pet, this creature, this summon that we can use, and there's a lot of versatility that comes from summons. Summons help your aggressiveness by giving us an extra attack per round. They help our defensiveness by sometimes having defensive features, and sometimes just by being a body that gets attacked. And it helps utility. You can clog up a hallway with a bed that you animated and just have it sit there to slow enemies down. But with this particular summon, really big thing is that it has fly speed, and it can be a large creature. So if we target a bed frame, for example, now that bed frame flies, and now we have flying for an hour. Kind of combines fly with the summon as well. So we don't even necessarily have to use this to damage someone. Sometimes we just want to use this for mobility. We get on the bed, we use it, it flies up in the air, and now not only do we fly, we can also take cover because it's a large object beneath us that they're going to have to attack the object. They can't hit us. This extra mobility and protection for a bard is a really big deal and goes a long way to keeping you alive long enough to be doing what you're doing. You can still cast a concentration spell because this is concentrationless flying, and then we can still use our bardic inspirations. And honestly, I wouldn't even swing down and attack very often. And then there's going to be other combats where we want to create an item that just goes and fights for us while we stand in the back. A lot of versatility here, a lot of power here, all packed into one feature. Very, very good. All right, finally we get Creative Crescendo. At 14th level, this is our College of Creation capstone feature. At 14th level, when you use your Performance of Creation feature, you can create more than one item at once. The number of items equals your Charisma modifier, minimum of 2 items. If you create an item that would exceed that number, you choose which of the previously created items disappears. Only one of these items can be of the maximum size you can create. The rest must be small or tiny. You are no longer limited by GP value when creating items with Performance of Creation. So you can really expand on that distort value strategy here. You can make a lot of high value items very quickly and sell them, and if as long as you get away with it, man, you can make a ton of money. At 14th level, money is probably not your biggest issue though. So we're talking about utility here. How much utility does this increase? And I don't think by much. I think we could already make most everything we needed, but there's going to be things that we couldn't. So now we can do like a whole carriage still going to need horses, but in between the Bard of Creation and a druid, you could create a whole carriage with a horse drawing it for an hour. I don't know. I think as far as capstones go, this is not increasing our power much at all. It's a little bit of fun, it's a little bit more versatility, but I'd say power level is genuinely just kind of a tick up. I think College of Creation really is almost all coming from its 6th level feature, that summon. Everything else is kind of flavorful and just kind of little bumps to power, but nothing significant. As far as its flavor goes, it's very like Disney Anastasia, where you have these dancing music notes, you have the broomsticks coming alive, you're able to wave your magic wand and create chairs or whatever. It has a flavor of like you sing things into existence, which could be cool. I don't know, for me, I feel like its flavor profile is hard for me to resonate with. Now, I want to, so if you guys have suggestions on ways to create a very flavorful College of Creation character, I would like to hear them down below, because I want to take this flavor and make something really cool out of it. Whereas right now, it really does only hit the Disney Princess, Disney Anastasia vibe for me. I'm not getting anything else out of it, and I want to see something cooler. The closest that's getting to me to resonate is like someone who plays a flute, and you can see something being built from nothing. I like that with the Druidic Bard, where you sing and the tree grows. There's something about the power of magic being a creationary thing that could be cool there. As far as changing your build from the normal Bard, almost nothing changes. Like, actually nothing changes. The only difference is that you have a summon that you can fly on. Everything else is going to be Bard straight through. So it's very, very close to just building a base Bard. This has been my take and my deep dive on the College of Creation. If you have anything to add, please do in the comments down below. If you're wanting anything else jumped into Bard, you can even check the description down below. We're going to have everything Bard related in that description, either will be made or already is, and you can link to it there. If you are interested in these deep dives, we are going to do a deep dive on everything. I'm going through this game with a fine-tooth comb, so if you're interested in any element of the game, it is either already created or will be created. You can find our deep dive playlists here. With all that being said, take care of your mental health, we love you, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.